Welcome, everyone, to episode 72 of the Looks Like a Movie podcast. My name's Kevin. I'm here with Doug and Owen, and today we're talking about two new movies, The Bikeriders and The Exorcism. But first, as always, we can talk about what we watched this past week. Douglas, would you like to get us started?
Oh gosh. Yeah, so I watched in order, these are all the movies I watched. I watched Detective D: The Four Heavenly Kings, which is the third Detective D movie directed by Shu Hark. It's very good. It's like Chinese Fast and the Furious kind of. Um and I watched Bad Boys Ride or Die, which neither of you have seen, right?
Nope.
It's really interesting. It's good. It's good. It's like I don't know. You should watch it
Yeah, it's
sometime.
kind
It's
of a
good.
big movie. It's kind of a big movie for us to have skipped over on the podcast, but I just didn't want to watch the first three before it because I just didn't have the time that week because I'll watch
Yeah,
them all when it's once it's out, I'll do a little binge.
they're fun. They're also like evil, but they're fun.
Oh, okay. That's
um,
like
eh,
that's like every Michael Bay movie.
yeah.
Kind of like
Uh,
every American movie that's over like an X amount of dollars. Like there's a little
Yeah.
evil kind of thrown in there, depending how much money has been put in it.
I watched this movie called "Creation of the Gods 1: Kingdom of Storms,"
I saw
which
that.
I'm very high on. I've been recommending it to lots of people. I think it's very good. It's like Chinese Lord of the Rings. It is of a impossible scale. Um,
Right.
then I watched I Was Born, but which is an Ozu film about the it's a silent Ozu film from 1932 about the hierarchy of society and what's the word interacting with people,
Oh,
you
okay.
know. Then I watched October, the Sergei Eisenstein film.
Shout out.
I don't know if you know,
out.
but you know. Then I watched The Monkey King. I thought this was gonna be good. The Monkey King, starring Donnie Yen as a fucking monkey. Uh, it's like it is one of the most baffling fucking movies I've ever seen.
Was that the one
Uh,
you gave 1 star to? I feel like you gave a
Two
movie a
stars,
really
two
low
stars,
rating
two stars.
recently.
yeah, I gave it 2 stars. It's
Oh,
bad,
okay.
but it's like I wanted to like it so bad, but it's like so bad.
It
Um,
happens.
and then I watched The Far Country, which is a Anthony Mann movie starring James Stewart, which is really good.
Jimmy.
Shout out.
Yeah, James Stewart, kind of the goat.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
kind of.
Yeah.
What did you watch, Owen?
Okay, so I watched the entire Californian trilogy, the James Benning trilogy. Those are all really great. And then I was watching a lot of. I talked about Turner last week, and I watched The Cat People this week,
Oh,
which
did
is
you
like
like that?
his. Yeah, it's not my favorite, but like that's his like most popular film. So like, it's very good though. But I kind of like he's he's got like his like eras where it's like black and white, and then he's got like his Technicolor stuff, and like he does a lot of interesting stuff, especially in Cat People with shadows and the use of black and white and stuff. But I think his like Technicolor films are just so fun and like crazy colorful that those are like I'm kind of leaning more towards those.
Hmm.
But his his black and white stuff's really impressive as well. All very good stuff. Then I rewatched The Mangler. I don't
Mangler.
remember why.
Have you seen that, Kevin?
No, but Owen and I were talking about it in our 2K chat the other day. I think maybe that's why you rewatched it.
Oh well, I remember Seth sent a fucking photo in our group chat of him like buying it.
Right.
It's like one of my favorite horror movies ever. And with the new like letterbox backdrop thing, I always like didn't like that backdrop, so I like went in and like changed it to the guys.
Yeah.
Um, and then I watched the Return to Yuma, which I think is incredible. The Delmer Daves film. That's really great stuff. Kind of like perfect like Western narrative. Like it's like 90 minutes and it's really simple. It's basically you have this like outlaw guy and you have this farmer, and the farmer has to like escort the outlaw to like get rid of him, and it's like those guys like interactions and them kind of playing off each other, and it's like a really simple narrative, but everything is like really well executed, and it's also like beautiful. But the camera movement is really modern. I mean, it was 57, which is a little later for a Western, I guess. Like when you're thinking about like Ford and stuff, it's not like too late, but the camera does kind of move around a lot more than like say something in like an earlier Ford or something. So that kind of was interesting. Caught me off guard.
57, I don't think is that late for a Western.
Sure, but it's like it does feel
because like the spaghetti westerns didn't really start until like the 60s, like with the Sergio Leone stuff.
okay. Yeah, I'm more thinking of like some other stuff, some older things that I've been watching, I guess. But it's like it does feel modern. It
compared
does feel
to
like,
okay, yeah,
it does feel modern. And it's like 57s. It's like still black and white and everything. But I mean that's not that's a choice, obviously. And then I watched Earth, which is very interesting, like Soviet film. Yeah, very interesting kind of compositions and really, really, really cool. It's 75 minutes. Definitely recommend that one, just on like a compositional base. And then I watched the Bikeriders. Talk about that. Then I watched my first Straub little flick.
Oh,
Oh,
Straub.
I heard you talking about that.
I think you said Rob. I was like, who the fuck is Rob? Like,
no,
Straub
a little
and
sh, yeah,
SNH.
Difficult, interesting.
Challenging, even.
Yeah, really challenging. It's 55 minutes long. It's a long 55 minutes. But I'm interested. I'm kind of like diving head first. It's because I was like, I've just heard so much about them, and
yeah,
I know like that it's like these are difficult and challenging films.
They're kind of essential.
But it's also like I'm saying I was curious because I was like, okay, but why are they difficult, and like what's difficult about them? So I wanted to watch at least that one. And that one's like shorter. And I'm interested to keep like researching and watching. But I'm not like, I don't know how I feel about them yet. And then I rewatched The Munsters, which
some SNH into the Munsters action.
Because I was doing like Seth did like a top 20 of the decade video, and then I was like, I don't really want to do that, but I want to do like a video just talking about like movies that I liked that came out this decade. And then I was like, I really like The Munsters, but I haven't seen it since like 2 years ago or whatever. So I rewatched it, and that movie's incredible. It's like two or three sitcom episodes just in a movie. And it's just like the most jolly time ever. Really awesome stuff. And then I rewatched After Sun last night. That's the last thing I did, and that's another like 2020s rewatch, and that's one of my favorites of the decade for sure. I really appreciated kind of the formal qualities of the film this time. As like this first time, it's like just kind of the emotional weight of the narrative. I really kind of focused on its formal qualities this time, and that's kind of what bumped it over with like my rating. I think it's very impressive. But yeah, that's my week.
Yeah, good movie. I set a reminder on my phone to rewatch it today, but I don't know if I'm gonna have the balls to do it. We're gonna see. We're gonna see if I decide to watch it. Okay. Love Island UK update. So
Jesus Christ.
Ronnie, our least favorite Islander. Not actually our least favorite Islander, but just the worst guy in the villa, just like a real piece of shit. Looks like it's about to fire back on him. I don't know if you guys have seen the memes because I don't think you pay attention.
No.
But there's this guy, Ronnie, in the villa who is ugly as fuck. Like literally hideous loser, probably the ugliest guy to ever be on Love Island. And all the girls want him. And it's really confusing, and it feels like a social experiment, but it's because he's an asshole. and now he's like lost all those
Wait, what does
girls.
he? I want to look at him.
No, look up a picture. Look up
Ronnie.
Ronnie Love Island UK season 11. There was a meme
Jesus,
of
that's
like
so much to look up.
there's a meme that he looks like the fucking one dude from The Simpsons. I can't remember the guy's name because I don't watch The
What?
Simpsons, but like the creepy like looking
I mean, he's
dude
not
from The
that
Simpsons.
ugly.
This guy looks like
No,
this looks like a normal dude.
no, you gotta do like listen, man, you don't
I
understand.
mean, I'm sure he's an
You
asshole, but
haven't
he
seen
looks
him in full
normal.
form. No, you haven't seen him in full form. And then there's like a picture. There's like a picture of him in bed the one night, and like it's like an angle of the top of his head, and he like now there's like a thing going around that he's like wearing a hairpiece or like spray painting his hair on because it looks like he's balding in bed, but like on the show it looks normal. Anyway. Ronnie sucks. And it looks like it's about to backfire on him because all the girls left him for being a player, and now he's like committed to this one girl. And at the end of yesterday's episode, she was talking to one of the other girls, and she was like, I don't know if I'm feeling it. And now I'm like, oh, he's going to be left with nobody. And Ronnie's going to be all by himself. And his run is over. His terrorism has ended. And then Nicole and Kieran look really cute as always. They're still my two favorites. What else happened? Sean, a bombshell finally came in for Sean, who was kind of one of my favorite Islanders. He kind of sucks. Like at flirting and stuff. Like he's just kind of like too much of a nice guy, and like nobody really wants him. And for some reason, every time he talks to one of the girls, he like can only talk to them about candy or like sweets or whatever. He runs like a sweet shop in real life. Like that's his job. So his like pickup line with every girl is like telling them what sweet she is. And it like, but he recycles it for every single girl that comes in, and it just like hasn't worked. And it finally worked on this new girl, like the 9th time he's tried it. So they're kind of cute together, but there's a triangle going on because there's another guy who's also into her, and I kind of really like that guy too. So we'll see where that goes. Anyway, movies. I rewatched Boys in the Hood on Father's Day because it has, one of my favorite movie dads. Great movie, still one of my favorites. And then I watched Johnny Guitar and On Dangerous Ground, two Nicholas Ray movies, because he has made two of my favorite movies ever, In a Lonely Place and Rebel Without a Cause, and I have not seen any more of his movies, so I'm kind of getting into a bit of a Nicholas Ray kick now. And those two are really good as well. Johnny Guitar, kind of unbelievable. On Dangerous Ground, I've been thinking about a bit since watching it and kind of want to rewatch it. It's really interesting. I mean, In a Lonely Place is still my favorite because that's just one of my favorite movies ever. But they're all really good, and I'm gonna probably keep doing that over this next week or so. Bikeriders The Exorcism, we're going to talk about in a second. And then yesterday I finished watching the new Roger Federer documentary that came out, Federer 12 Final Days, which is a Asif Kapadia film. He's like a documentary filmmaker that does a bunch of profiles on athletes or famous people or whatever. I know he does other documentaries as well, but that's like what he's become known for over the past decade or so. Federer documentary, really good stuff. I started crying like 5 minutes into the documentary, and I cried for pretty much the entire thing. It's just like really emotional to spend the final days of like a legendary athlete's career with them and like have them know that they can't play this sport anymore that they've played their entire life. There's like it really gets tough at the end when like he's playing his final match. That I don't watch tennis, so I don't really know much about the details or like the significance of the match, but it's like this like they do this one tournament where it's like the team world versus team Europe, so it's like European players versus everybody else in the world.
Yeah.
And he gets to like play with Rafael Nadal as his teammate for like one final time, like the two guys who kind of were the most significant figures in the sport for a while. And then they end up losing that match, and then like the crowd at the end, like he's like, they know it's over, and he's like crying looking at the crowd, and then there's just like people in the crowd like sobbing uncontrollably. And it's just a lot. It was really good. I would recommend people watch it even if you're not really that into tennis, because I have watched maybe 20 tennis matches in my life and I loved it. So definitely worth checking out. Good documentary. And that was my week. And now we can talk about the Bikeriders. So you guys want to start with The Exorcism? Do you have a
No,
preference?
we could talk about
the
the bike riders.
Okay, let's
the
start
old
with the
Jeff
Bikeriders
Nichols
then.
picture.
Yeah. So, I was going to ask that as well. Is this the first Jeff Nichols
Yeah.
movie you guys have seen, both of you?
Yeah, have
Yeah.
you
He
seen
hasn't
Mud?
made that many. He hasn't made that many movies. No, I haven't seen Mud. I kind of want to
Okay.
watch it though. That's Matthew McConaughey, isn't it?
Yeah. That's the only
My
other movie I know
my
he did.
knowledge of his other movies is that Michael Shannon is in every one of
Yeah,
them.
Michael Shannon. So Michael Shannon is in every one of his movies.
Yeah.
I've seen Take Shelter, which Michael Shannon is like the main character in. Really good Michael Shannon perform. Probably like maybe his. I don't know what his best is off the top of my head. I don't know how many Michael Shannon movies I've seen, but Take Shelter might be the one.
He's an incredible actor.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean
Michael
he's
Shannon's
fantastic.
really great.
I want to watch the what is it? Shotgun Stories. That one seems interesting.
Yeah, I don't think
He's
I've
in a
seen
Werner
anything that
Herzog I need to watch.
I don't think I've seen anything that he's like the lead guy in, but like every time he like appears in something, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, this guy.
No, I mean he's like famously supporting actor, but like Take Shelter is always like the one that I would like see online and stuff. Like I always used to see pictures of
Yeah.
him in it, and people used to always like hype it up. And I finally watched it, and it's cool seeing him in a lead role. Like you're right, you don't really see it that often. He is a supporting role in the Bikeriders though.
He's in the William Friedkin movie. He's like the second build in Bug, the 2006 William Friedkin movie that I really need to watch. Like that might be one of his best movies. I know a friend of the pod, Aiden, really likes. Like a lot of people really like that movie. It's like a late Friedkin that people really like.
Interesting.
Speaking of William Friedkin, no.
Not a segue. Yeah, Jeff Nichols, Bikeriders.
Yeah. So first, what are your thoughts since you've never seen one of his movies before? About him.
Well, did he write this one?
Yeah, did he write this movie? I think
Is
he had to.
is he a
right?
writer?
I think so. Yeah.
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
he
yes.
did.
It's really solid. Like I was like so kind of surprised. I don't know. Surprised isn't the right word. It's
You weren't
really,
that
really
excited
solid.
going into it.
I was kind of excited going into it, but
Okay.
then it was still kind of better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I'll say that too. It was better than I thought it was gonna be.
It's like super, super solid. I wasn't expecting it to be like this like hetero romantic like whole thing. It was really cool. Yeah, it's cool. I like it a lot.
He's a really good writer.
Well, that's what for me. Like with no experience with Jeff Nichols, I didn't really have any idea what the film would kind of be like. It's kind of been a film that's been floating around for like a year. Played at some festivals. People have seen it. It's finally coming out. The big selling point is Austin Butler and these funny accents and it's a good cast, right? And then so that's enough to go see it. But I think for me, it was like there's nothing formally that's like annoying. Like it's all like really competent formal execution. There's nothing like that interests me like formally. Like there's nothing like whoa, like that's cool or anything like that. But it was like nothing that bothered me. So I was like okay. And then the script I thought was really good. I thought the script was really good. And then the performances, I think the direction of the performances and the actors themselves were like amazing. Like I think I said this online. I think there's not a bad performance in the movie. And that was something like when the trailers were playing, I was like, oh, I don't know how I feel about all this. But I think in the movie, everyone kind of killed it. So it was really fun to watch that. But I think also in terms of like a narrative thing, it was like I had to go to the bathroom for like the last maybe like 20 minutes. I was like, I don't want to miss any scene because I think there's so much going on here. Like I can't miss this because it's like I'm really invested in this and I really want to see every little bit because I think there's just so much good. Like there's not a bad scene. I think there's just so much. So it's like it's not like the best thing in the world, but I don't think there's really a bad scene or a bad element to it.
Yeah, I was so
really
into
solid.
it from beginning to end, and it felt so much like I met some of my friends were at the movies, and they really did not have a good time, and I think that sentiment was probably carried out the kind of throughout a chunk of my theater. It seemed like a lot of people were kind of just like not super into it, and I was like, I like scene by scene, I was just like so into it the whole time. I thought, especially because like they're not entirely like that tightly connected to each other. Like they're all just kind of like moments, and like each one of them on their own is so interesting that I just like I really liked the whole thing. Speaking of the performances, You guys have a favorite amongst the trio, and then also I guess like a favorite like little supporting performance, because the supporting cast goes quite deep, like
Yeah.
10 or 12
Yeah.
names deep.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna pull out like a crazy one.
Yeah.
Hold up.
I think
Okay.
my favorite performance in the movie might have been Tom Hardy.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think there's a wrong answer for the big three.
I don't know. The big three is tough.
But
I
also Jodie
really
Comer
like
has the
Tom
most
Hardy.
dialogue, though.
Yeah.
So that's what I'll come out with. Like I think Austin. This is the thing. Austin Butler. I knew he was a fucking actor, like an incredible star. I come away from this movie being like, yeah, he's the real deal. Uh, Tom Hardy. I was never like a fan. Like I've seen him in some things, but like not really recently. Came away from this being like, oh, Tom Hardy, he can fucking act. Jodie
Yeah.
Comer. I've seen her in maybe like 3 things. Never really left like a remark. What? Never like I never came away and be like, oh, Jodie Comer, incredible talent. This to me, I was like, oh wow, like this is incredible from Jodie.
You didn't
Comer.
feel that way after The Last Duel?
Well, that's the thing with
No.
The Last Duel. That's how I feel about that.
I didn't
with
feel
her
that
in The
way,
Last
but maybe
Duel.
I'd feel that way again, like watching it recently. But I came away being like, wow, she's incredible. But my favorite supporting role was Damon Harriman, who plays
Yeah, he's so
Brucey.
good. He's
Who
so good.
I was watching, like I was just scrolling on TikTok a couple days ago, and he plays Charles Manson
Yeah.
in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and he also plays Charles Manson in the Manhunter show, and he did both of those things in like the same year. And he was just
That's
like
crazy.
he was researching and playing him in the Manhunter show, and then he
500.
got like the
I'm in it.
audition for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood like 5 months later. And it was like the easiest audition he's ever done because he's been studying this guy forever. And which is really bizarre. But I really like he had like such an interesting vibe to him.
Yeah.
But there's so many like I think even Mike Weiss is like barely in the movie, but it's just like so fun to see Mike Weiss show up. Norman
Yeah.
Reedus shows up for like 2 minutes, and he just has like such a unique energy to him. There's so many like little guys, like Michael Shannon. We talked about him earlier, but he just has like these moments where the camera will just be on his face, and he'll just be talking, and it's just like perfect. There's so many little moments that everyone has like little like character beats that are really fun.
I was curious what you guys would think about Toby Wallace, who I imagine you haven't seen in a movie before, because the 2 movies I've seen, the 2 other movies I've seen him in, I know you guys have not watched.
That's
But
the
he's kind of
kid.
like the
Yeah,
kid who
yeah,
wants to join the
yeah.
gang and then is like kind of a villain in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I will say he seems radically out of place.
That's what I was
in
about
the
to say.
cast list.
He has
Yeah,
like a modern face.
Yeah.
He has like a modern energy, which kind of makes sense, I guess. If he's like this young kid and he's like the next generation and he's gonna lead that next generation, it makes sense for him to have like a different vibe.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that kind of character was interesting. Sometimes I'm like bad at like I never really like try to like guess where things are going. And like people like sometimes will be like, oh, I knew exactly what's gonna happen in the end when
Yeah,
X,
I don't
Y, and
think
Z
about
happen.
that
But
while
I'm
I'm
not like
watching
worried
something.
about that but I thought his character is really interesting because they introduce him earlier. He like sees the gang and he's like, oh, I
Right.
want to do that. And then he like slowly we get like more and more of him, and he like wants to join the gang, and then Tom Hardy's like, okay, you can join, but your fucking friends can't. And then he's like, okay. And then he's like, okay, that's like not what this is about. Like you fucking failed the test.
Yeah, no, that moment
That
is
was such a
so
good scene.
strong.
Oh,
It's a
man.
strong moment.
It's so good.
Oh,
And then he comes back, and you have the whole like he like basically builds up his whole home. He builds up his own gang, and then he
right.
challenges, and the whole like the whole I love the way they built up this script. The whole challenge, you have the challenge earlier, right? And he's like fists
Right.
or knives, and that guy chooses fists, and then the next guy, like later, like that guy's gonna choose knives. It's just built up so well, like brick by brick, like really well. But
That's
I didn't
also-
really know. I mean, do we want to go into that? We can go into that.
I don't think we should spoil the movie.
No. I don't think we should do. You
I
don't
was
think we should spoil the movie at all, or just yet?
No, if you want to, we can, I guess. But it's like I don't.
No, we could avoid spoiling the movie entirely if you
Yeah, I
want
don't.
to.
I don't think we need
I
to.
don't think we need to. That's what I was. Yeah,
But I
Yeah,
do.
okay.
That seems really interesting.
Because
the
I was
ending's
about to
kind of
bring up
sad.
I
We
was
could
about to
say
bring up
that, but like,
yeah, I was about to bring up a different detail than the one you guys are talking about that would also be kind of a spoiler. So, I'll avoid
What
that. But
detail?
it just involves I'll say this, which is I don't think a spoiler. I think most people probably go into this movie expecting this is that a character dies, but not the character you guys are thinking of. Another character, and the movie like that's like the only like it takes such a dramatic shift, I feel like
Oh, like
at
the
that point.
funeral.
Like yeah, well, specifically
oh
because
yes,
they
oh I
specifically
remember.
because that character dying, like that character who's I don't want to name the actor because that will give it away, but it's a really good performance, let's say that.
Yeah,
And like kind of like secretly like a little bit of like the heart of the movie, and then it really like just gets super dark from that point. And it's in
Yeah.
line with like the shift that the biker gang is taking from
Hmm.
like with that new kid, which is why I wanted to bring it up. Like
Yeah.
those things kind of line up together at the same time that happens. The gang is kind of turning like getting too big
Yeah.
and turning into something different.
I really liked that kind of the turn because it wasn't necessarily like that Tom Hardy was like turning into something. I like it sort of guess he was turning into something that he wasn't, but like it wasn't like him like just becoming like the Godfather or something. Like it was like it's just getting too big for him to handle, and he like doesn't really know how to like deal with like it's just too big. Right. I liked the kind of like when they're at that party and there's just so many people that he doesn't know, and like they're like and it's like kind of the message is all watered down, and he doesn't really have control over anyone, and people that he
Yeah.
loves are like affected by that. Like I guess that funeral moment is really that big moment where it's like people that I love are dying, and it's kind of my fault. You know, it's
Yeah. It's it's pretty painful. I
what
like
do like anybody in the Vandals do for like a job?
I mean, they hint at it several times throughout the movie where
some of them have jobs.
they're like, oh, Tom Hardy's a truck driver and like this, that, and the other thing. Like it's like they do other stuff, which is I think like kind of one of the most interesting ideas in the movie that I wanted to talk about is that they're all kind of like it's not like really a gang exactly. Like it's like they're all just kind of like acting like tough guys. They're none of them really
Well, that's
are
the whole
tough guy.
big
Like
thing is like
yeah,
it
like that's like the
becomes a
whole
gang, and that's why it becomes like it gets
yeah,
out of their
exactly,
hands.
exactly. But like, you know, we like earlier in the movie, we see that like the whole thing starts because Tom Hardy sees Marlon Brando on screen and like
Yeah. And he
wants
like
to be
fucking
him. And
locks
then
in,
like,
he leans
yeah,
in on the
and
Marlon
even with
Brando
the
on the
villain
TV.
character, yeah, even with the villain character, like the whole reason why he does that like is because he sees them riding through town and he's like, I want to be like that. Like the whole movie is
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like people wanting to like be this kind of like persona that they're not.
Yeah, it's like this idea of
Um,
testosterone.
yeah,
You know,
exactly. And
yeah,
they're all these guys probably work like fucking regular ass like mechanic jobs or whatever, like
Yeah,
truck
yeah.
drivers, whatever. And then they just like are like tough guys at the bar when they're on their bikes. And then somebody in the I forget who even says it, but someone in the movie even says that they're just like not like that when they're not together. Like it's like when there's like
Well,
a
they
quote where
can't
someone's
be
like when they're
because
yeah, because then they'll get
like the
attacked like
only
they
one
don't
who
wear
is
their
like that when they're not together is
Austin
fucking
Butler.
yeah,
Yeah, but like
because they
they
get
say like they
fucking
don't wear their
jumped.
colors, yeah, or they get jumped. So it's like I don't know, all that stuff is really like there's a lot of stuff about masculinity in the movie, but like that stuff specifically, like them just kind of like playing into these personas of tough guy. I mean, it even like shows at that picnic you were talking about where they do like the fighting, where it's all just like really like they have like that
it's like
brawl with like the other
performative.
yeah, they have like
Yeah,
the brawl with the other gang, and then when he punches the glass, everybody's just like, "Oh, that's too much." It's like everybody's like, "Guys, we don't want to actually get
Well,
hurt. Like
it's funny
we're
because
just like
like
punching each other."
they totally like weren't gonna fight, and they only fight
Yeah.
because Austin Butler
Yeah,
runs in and punches
exactly.
the fuck out of that guy, and they're like, "Fuck, I guess we have to fight now." And
Yeah.
then like at the end of it, like they're like just kicking back, like chilling all together.
Which like maybe part of I didn't even really think about this at the time that I was watching it, but like part of like Tom Hardy's obsession with the Austin Butler character is probably that like he's an actual tough guy. Like he's like not like he's like actually a bit crazy and like a bit into all of this stuff, whereas like everybody else is acting. So
Well,
he's this guy who like
he even says it like
yeah,
it's like all the other guys, they want to be who you are, and
yeah,
that's just who
Yeah.
exactly.
you are.
Yeah.
Even like I think even Tom Hardy is like I
Yeah,
want to be
exactly, which
like
is why he's
you,
so
in
he's
love
so,
with
like,
him.
fascinated with him. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. And then there's, like oh, that scene where they're just, like, face to face, like, they're, like,
Yeah.
2 I hated that, like,
Beautiful,
so many
like
people
kind
in
of
my theater were laughing at
shadows.
it, but I was like, "This is so good."
People were
Like
laughing at it in your
yeah, of
theater.
course. I mean,
What do you
like
mean,
I
of
said, people
course?
well, because
course.
people
Was
weren't taking
laughing
because I
in
told
my theater.
no, because I told you people were like not taking the movie seriously in my theater, and there was like people who thought it was dumb, and then like they see the scene where they're like where they look like they're about to kiss, and then everybody's like, starts laughing, and I was like, this is so good, dude. I was like, you guys are crazy. That was kind of like my favorite scene in the movie. I kind of had a couple favorite scenes. I really like the one that Doug mentioned as well. The where they're outside the bar and he like wants to ditch his friends. That one's really good too. But
Yeah,
that scene
no,
with the two of them face to face is like,
yeah.
oh, it's so good.
This is such a it's kind of a thing that when I think of like a pop movie, like something that is like a broadly accessible to people, this is the
Mhm.
kind of thing that I think should be considered more because it's just like a very like character driven, like performance driven, like kind of like a solid movie. It's like you
Yeah.
go to the movie theater and you sit down and you watch it and you're like invested in the story, right? And then it's the kind of thing that people should just like broadly be interested in seeing. I don't know. I'm not familiar with biker gangs as a real life
Oh,
concept.
you're not?
Not really. I also
Okay.
like are either of you guys tapped into Sons of Anarchy?
When I was
Yeah.
younger, I watched it a little bit, but not much.
Because I guess that's like the more popular cult like
Example of a biker gang in media.
in media, yeah, and Norman
Yeah.
Reedus is also one of the main characters in that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I'm like a little
Wh-
bit familiar
Wherever
with
there's a
biker
bike,
gangs.
Norman Reedus will end up there. That guy.
Does he
No,
ride a
it's
bike in the zombie show?
probably at
I
some
bet
point.
there's I bet
Probably,
there
right?
At least one. They got like
yeah, I
14
bet that at
seasons of that
least
shit, dude.
once,
There's got to be
dude.
at least one bike in 14 years of television.
It's still
Somebody's
going,
gotta
isn't
find a
it?
bike.
I'm pretty sure they just announced it's like The
Probably
Walking Dead.
without them though. I don't
Let
know
me
if he's
look
still
up.
No,
on.
I think with him, it's still going with
I
him.
guess that really is the only thing he
Norman
does most of the time.
Reedus
I guess he's really
bike
not in other stuff that. No, but I like that.
Walking Dead.
You mentioned it, Doug, where it's like this, like seems like
Yeah,
that
he
kind of
does. He
thing.
has a fucking bike in that show.
Yeah, of course. No, but like you mentioned, it seems like that kind of movie. But then like so many people seemed like like I said, like my friends were there, and they don't like this group of friends that was there doesn't or not. I shouldn't say all of them, but my one friend specifically does not go to the movies that often, and they were all like interested in seeing this movie, and then they were all really not into it. And then
It's the
after the movie,
accents.
I
The
mean, no,
accents are
but
too
it's like the act.
radical.
But I told them I was like you guys like Goodfellas, don't you? And they were like, oh, I love Goodfellas. I was like, that's the same movie. It's like you just
Right.
watch Goodfellas on bikes. Like, what do you mean? Like? It's really confusing to me. And I think what you kind of bring up is really kind of one of the big, not one of my problems with the movie, but one of the reasons why I think a lot of people won't like the movie that I was going to ask you about, which is like Jodie Comer doing the kind of Goodfellas narration throughout the
She's so
movie.
good.
Oh,
so
so
good.
what's it to you?
It's so good.
Oh, so then Benny came over and said, "Hey,"
It's
and
so good.
I thought,
she
yeah,
sounds
I thought she
fucking
was great.
Canadian.
I thought she was great. I did. I guess I understand the perspective that like how frequently they cut away to her being interviewed, like
Well,
kind of
I think that's just such
gets
an
rid of
important
any
part of the text of the film. You
same.
have Mike Weiss's character, who is basically like uh, the writer who wrote this book that whatever is the director found.
Jeff Nichols.
The Jeff Nichols is adapting this book of photos, and that
Right.
the character Mike Weiss is really making in the movie. So I think it's important that like it's kind of a retelling. It's not like a first-hand really account. I guess it is, but it's like it's Mike Feist's character getting information from Jodie Comer's character, and then like creating the kind of narrative. Even though Mike Feist was like there, like Mike Feist appears like in little like scenes and stuff, but it's like Mike Feist. It's an outsider's kind of view of the situation, which I think is important and like kind of essential to the text of the film.
And my understanding too is that, like, I don't know if this is true for all of their voices, but I know that for Jodie Comer's accent, she's like, it's you know, like it's like literally exactly based on the real
the real
woman.
person.
Like it's like she like listened to her speak and
Yeah,
modeled
and I
her
was like,
voice
okay, I'm
after
gonna do
her. So
that.
it's like, yeah, so people are making fun of it, but it's like she probably sounds very similar to the real life person.
Have you seen the video of Tom Hardy explaining where he got the Bane voice from?
No.
I don't think so.
Okay. It's
Oh,
I'll
I feel
I'll
like
explain it a little bit
yeah.
then. It's very interesting, and I think it's tangentially related because so Tom Hardy in an interview they were like, oh, where did you get the idea for this Bane voice? Because you know his voice in Bane is ridiculous. It's awesome. I like
Right.
it, but it's ridiculous. And he talked about how he found this
singular.
guy.
It's very singular.
He found this guy in like Louisiana or something like the bayou, right? Who was like the king of the bayou, and he found like these clips of him talking, and then he did the Bane voice and said something that he said in the video, and then you could go watch the video of the original guy saying the exact same thing. They don't sound anything alike. Like literally, they don't sound anything alike. But Tom Hardy is like not trying to. It's like the way Tom Hardy approaches fucking voice work is so weird because it's like he's not even trying to sound like the guy. He's just like turning the guy into a caricature in his brain and then trying to sound like that caricature. You know what I mean? It's kind of
Tom
great.
Hardy
Though.
is like kind of the coolest actor ever. Like he's so fucking silly. He does like a similar thing in Peaky Blinders where I'm just like, what is like it's like so obnoxious that it's the most entertaining thing in the world, and you just kind of like have to picture like his process for getting into that character. And I imagine it's similar for most of his roles, but he's just like he's just having the time of his life all the time.
He's so good in this movie. Like he's such a sweetheart.
Yeah. I love how he talks in this movie a lot. I love how like people will come up to him and say whatever, like some bullshit, and he'll just like be looking down, like so annoyed that anybody's talking to him, and then he'll just be like,
there was like fuck, I don't remember what scene it is, but there's a line in the movie where like he says something like in his like little mumble, and like everybody in my theater just like didn't know what the fuck he said. Like he said something and everybody was just like, what? Like you just can't understand what he's trying to say, and then they just like move on.
It's so
Oh,
awesome.
it's so good.
He's such an awesome it's like it's so good that we have a guy like that, you know? Like
Yeah. Yeah, we need a Tom Hardy. What did you think about the little love triangle? The little Tom Hardy, Jodie Comer, Austin Butler love triangle going on?
Well, I was gonna say I think that maybe people if you like challengers, you might like this movie.
Right.
I was gonna say like there is like some like similarities.
Yeah, obviously like challengers is a little bit more like young and a little bit more like energetic, you know, than this movie is. This movie's not as like fast paced and like full of energy, but it's like it is like, you know, it's performance driven like screenplay like screenplay movie about a love triangle, about like a gay love triangle.
Yeah. No, yeah, it's actually a really good comparison. I'm curious if people would like it as much.
Because well, I guess like in challengers it's so explicitly sexual.
Yeah,
right.
And this
Whereas, like,
is not. This is more romantic.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not gonna ask you guys about the ending then because I don't want to spoil that either. Like, you know what I'm referring to, the very last scene of the movie.
Ending's good though. The way the direction the narrative goes is really interesting and not what I thought it was going.
Well, it was like there's a point where I was like, okay, I know where they're going to go, but I don't know how they're going to do it.
Yeah,
and I didn't expect what they did, like that specific way they did it. I wasn't expecting that, and it caught me off guard. And I was like, oh, that's interesting.
But what did you guys think about how they kind of I don't know if this is really like a complaint I have with the movie because I don't know that I actually like think about this all that much.
Yeah.
But just like the setting slash like time periods, yeah, slash like just the overall atmosphere. Like, did it? I don't, I don't know that it felt like the period that it's supposed to be in, or that the movie even really like does that much to make you feel that way.
I don't know. I don't know if that's really the point. But I remember.
No, of course, I'm just
I don't know
asking.
who said this, and I feel really bad that I don't know. But it was basically like there's a level of like removal that happens where things just start to blend together. Like it's like
Right.
if you made a movie about like 2016 right now, like we would like know, like we would like have like a specific vibe for 2016, not even just the whole 2010s. Like we would have a very specific like 2016, 2018, 2020. But like for like say like 1980, like the whole decade, it kind of is just a blend together. And as farther you get back, it just becomes more of like
Right.
a
It's
blend.
just like an idea.
So I didn't like it's like I just don't really have enough uh you know
Yeah.
to kind of so it worked for me. I kept seeing online people have issues with the location that it was shot in because it's supposed to be in Chicago,
It's supposed to be in
right?
Chicago. Does
Right.
And it's
not
not
feel like
shot in
Chicago.
Chicago. And for me, like I just don't like what is it like 70s, 60s Chicago. So it's like I I don't like
Well, isn't the
I didn't notice that at all, but people like had issues with that online.
I'm
Uh
gonna be
the
honest.
idea isn't that it's like in Chicago, right? Like it's just somewhere in Illinois, right?
It's like, yeah, it's
yeah, but
Illinois.
it's
Well, because
not
they ride
shot
around.
there.
They ride
It's
around. Yeah.
and that
Yeah.
didn't like like that's not something that will ever really
Like
bother me.
if you
Like
just were to
even
like be like that's that's like a suburb or like a rural area of Illinois, like it's impossible to tell. All those places look the
I
for
same.
will
for
say though,
Thanksgiving, like that was shot in it was supposed to be in fucking modern day Massachusetts, and it was not shot in that. But like that didn't like that's not
Yeah.
something that like fucking annoys
I
me.
do think that the location in the Bike Riders for a movie that is like about a Chicago, like Illinois based biker
Yeah,
gang,
yeah,
the location feels very unspecific in the movie.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's yeah.
To maybe not like its detriment, but it's like even me going in knowing that it was like about a Chicago biker gang, like during the movie, I was like, oh yeah, it's like where are we in
Yeah,
the
it's
world?
not.
Like,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was
yeah.
like, oh,
Yeah.
But that's just
Um
such like a modern movie thing. Like I just like think that's just like I don't really like expect that from
yeah.
like it would be cool if it was like very like detailed like about like a specific place like but it that's not really something that happens. Like I don't know.
I don't know.
right.
Like I'm not
I
expecting that, I
And you
guess.
don't want somebody to get caught up in the details either. Like you don't want somebody to make a movie where like everything is a signifier that like you're in this specific time
well,
and place and like it's
I don't
I
know.
don't know.
I'm intense.
I wish that the movie did more with the photographs, did more
I
Right.
do. I agree.
recreations of the photographs in the film, which it did a little bit of, but not a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah, I think that's like such an I guess like the Mike Feist character is like such an essential part of like the creation of this film, and it doesn't really lean into that. And I think it would have to just be it would have to lean more into like a formal like element. Like it just like
Yeah.
it's so script based, so writer based. Like if it was going to be more formalistic, the photographs would be like an obvious like place to
I
start.
love when he's interviewing people other than Jodie Comer. Though, like the other, like speaking of favorite scenes, the other one I didn't mention that was so funny was the one like great Michael Shannon moment where he doesn't get
Yeah,
to do a lot, but like that one part where he's just like going on a rant about how he hates college kids, and then at the end
yeah,
of it, he asked Mike Feist what he does, and he's like, "I'm in college studying photography."
yeah.
Like that part was so good. If there was more of that, I would welcome that.
Yeah,
Like
no,
gladly. Like that stuff was so
that's a great.
I love that. Like just the like being able to actually see him just interview a bunch of them like in that same way.
Yeah, it's like I almost I wish we had more of him maybe. But like I don't know, there's nothing like I feel too strongly about like in a negative sense. Like it's
Yeah,
just like
no, I don't really.
I'm just like yeah, it's really solid. It's really
Yeah,
good.
It's
It's
a weird movie to hate, I think.
yeah. I think it's just
I-
right.
so
yeah.
it's incredibly watchable. There's nothing really bad about it. I think it's just really good.
Yeah, I
It
think
has like
that
there's the issue. There's issues are more like it could be better here, but it could do this and it'd be better. But it's like there's something I was like, oh, this like kind of ruins it or
it
makes it
comes
bad.
down to like, are you interested in a love triangle set in like a 70s Illinois biker gang? If like that if like
Yeah.
that, just like think about that for 2 seconds. Like, does that sound interesting? You're gonna really like that movie if you think it's interesting. If that
Yeah,
sounds boring, you're gonna probably
it's
think
not.
the movie's kind of boring. You
Yeah,
know,
because
it's
some
like down
people
to
some
that.
people have been
Like,
like, yeah, I didn't really care for any of it. Like it was just boring. I didn't really like. I was like, okay,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
but I imagine a lot of those people probably went into the movie with the expectation that it's going to be like
like
action-packed, kind of like
action.
biker gang criminals, whereas like they're not really, you know, like I said, like
no, yeah, they're
they're
just
playing tough.
riding.
Yeah, they're playing tough guy. Like all they do is ride around on their
I
bikes. And it's
love the
like,
scene where because Tom Hardy was like a racer. He raced bikes.
yeah,
And he was talking to one of the guys that he races with. He was like, I'm thinking about starting a biking club. And he's like, oh no, he said a riding club. And he's like, why the
right.
fuck would we do that? What do they do? It's just like sit around and talk about bicycles. And he's like, that's what we already do.
Yeah, that's what we do.
um
He's like, that's what we do, but we race them.
yeah.
Yeah,
it's
that part was
really,
good
yeah.
too. Yeah. Anything else you guys want to say about the Bike Riders before we move on to our second movie?
No, it's solid. I think it's really solid.
Yep.
Same.
I kind of,
think
I
we're
mean,
all in agreement.
tweeted something online because there was a post where it's like, this is the most 3.5-star movie ever made. Because everyone's just giving
Right.
it 3.5 stars. And I tweeted basically something like, we need these movies. Like these movies, we
Yeah.
need these movies in theaters. Like this is like how the movie theater industry and the movie industry kind of stays afloat. Is like movies like this, where like these are really solid movies that anyone can kind of enjoy with like really good actors, like
Specifically
really
like
well-made
studio
movies,
movies.
well-made
Yeah.
studio movies that
Yeah.
like aren't like big blockbuster kind of things. I don't know how
One
much
of
this costs to
these
make, but
is
it's
as
not like that.
valuable to the culture as like 1,000 Deadpool and Wolverines, you know?
Yeah. $40 million. Like it's like a, you know, that's like the kind of area where it's like,
And most of that's for the
20 to
actors, probably.
$20 to $40 million, like really, really solid movies. Like those are very important.
Yeah.
Okay, The Exorcism then.
Oh, speaking of William Friedkin,
Was that going to be your
That was
transition?
exactly.
yeah.
The Exorcism is an exorcism movie starring Russell Crowe, directed
No,
by
it's
Joshua
not.
John Miller. What? I'm just
It's
explaining.
not an exorcism movie.
Okay, what? I don't want to deal with this. You fucking go ahead. I literally was just trying to tell people what it was, and you're already
But it's not an exorcism
okay.
movie.
Talk about it
Am
then.
I wrong? It's like there's not really an exorcism. I mean, there
mean,
is one, I guess.
it's like a
Anyways,
possession movie.
do you like this movie, Kevin? No, you don't. But like,
My mic was already muted. I didn't think I was gonna have to talk this soon. Dude, I'll be honest. I
1.9 average on Letterboxd is staring me in the fucking eye.
There was 6 instances during this movie where I had, you know, when you're you know when you get in bed at night and you're like this happens when we're on Discord calls often, by the way, where I'm like talking to you guys and then I sort of like slowly stop talking and then like I start falling asleep and then you say my name and I do the little like you jump up and you're like, no, I'm awake, like that thing. Yeah, that happened like 6 times during this movie where I was like, I didn't think I was watching a movie and then like as I was just about to like drift off and fall asleep, I like woke myself up and I was like, no, I have a podcast to do, and I kept watching it. So that's, I don't know if that answers your question about whether or not I liked it, but I liked one scene where
Also,
where Russell Crowe's exorcist demon yells slurs at his daughter.
that seems very silly. We're gonna spoil this movie because I don't think there's any way to talk about this in any meaningful
And
capacity without
also,
spoiling it.
Also, if somebody if people went, there's gonna be a small crowd of people who went out of their way to watch this past weekend instead of the Bike
Those are the
Riders
real
or
ones.
Kinds of
Those are the
Kindness
real ones.
or anything
Those are
else.
the real ones. Those are my people. Like literally, those are my people.
I'm just saying. I don't think I think the people. I think there's a small crowd of people who went to watch this, like you said, the quote unquote real ones, and I don't think anybody else cares if you spoil it. So
Yeah.
Okay.
We have to. I think Owen. We have to spoil it. I think a little bit to actually talk about what's going on here. Owen, you like this movie?
Yeah, no, I was like Tom Hardy watching Marlon Brando the whole time. Like I was locked the fuck in. I didn't really know. Like I had like no expectations. I was like, Doug really wanted to watch this. Like we were gonna do the
Yep.
Bike Riders podcast, and Doug was like, we have to do The Exorcism as well. So for some reason, my theater wasn't showing because like normally like new releases Thursday. So it was playing at other theaters, but for some reason it was only playing starting Friday. So I saw the Bike Riders on Thursday, and then I had to see the Exorcism on Friday. And I had like tickets for like really early in the morning, and then I like canceled them. Like, okay, I'll watch it later. And then I ended up seeing it like middle of the day, and I was like, okay, whatever. Well, I'll watch it for the podcast. And then like the movie started, and I was just like, okay, this is good. And then it just never stopped being good. I just never stopped being interested in it. Me and Doug really liked The Pope's Exorcist, which came out last year.
I did like The Pope's Exorcist. I liked that one.
It's not that has literally nothing to do with this movie. It's a really weird kind of studio thing where this, I don't know when The Pope's Exorcist started, right? But this movie started production in 2019. And due to COVID stuff, it didn't finish production until like 2023. Maybe wrong on that, but it took a while, right? It took a while because of COVID. And I don't know when, like, so The Pope's Exorcist came out before this one, but it's unrelated. It's just another Russell Crowe exorcism movie. But I think Russell Crowe was so good in The Pope's Exorcist that it was like, oh, I'm kind of on board for this. It's kind of unrelated just because it's another. I know Doctor says it's not an exorcism movie. It's not really like similar, but it like has obviously exorcist like vibes and like things in it. Like it's about. You can explain the plot.
The movie is about these guys that are basically these filmmakers that are remaking The Exorcist, basically the William Friedkin movie. It's not explicitly The Exorcist in the universe of the film.
Georgetown Project.
It's called the Georgetown Project, which is a reference to The Exorcist. But it's obvious that this is what's happening, right? Like, is they're remaking The Exorcist. So much weird stuff is going on. I don't know. That's my big thing where I'm like, this movie feels fucking bizarre. This movie is so strange.
Yeah.
Because also it's worth noting too that the writer director of this film, Joshua John Miller, he is father. What's the guy's name? But he's the
Arthur
son.
Miller.
He's the son of the actor that plays the Exorcist in The Exorcist.
Yes.
And The Exorcist obviously also had like a ton of problems during production, and it seems like just like inspired by that. But like it's
You're thinking of Jason Miller, by the way, is the actual guy.
Okay, Jason Miller, thank you. But it's so strange. It's because this movie is about it's also I don't even know where to start. That's where I'm at with this fucking movie. Because like, okay. This movie is about Russell Crowe, who is a movie star, and like explicitly like a movie star who is recently out of rehab.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which his character's name is Anthony Miller. Last name Miller, same last name as the fucking director and like his dad. Like he's literally like, this is his dad, or like this is his dad. This is his dad.
Fucking very so everything about this movie is bizarre. Because so like Russell Crowe is like, he's like out of rehab, right? And then his daughter is like home from boarding school.
She got like kicked out.
She got like suspended, and she's like working as a PA on this movie. The director is like evil.
Played by Adam Goldberg from
he's like actually like
Dazed and Confused. He
Yeah.
is fucking awesome in this movie. Like he's like horrible, like he's an evil guy, but like that performance is awesome. I love that Adam Goldberg performance. I think he's really great, great actor. He's a Linklater guy.
And this movie is all about, right? This movie is all about uh um family trauma
Mm-hmm.
and like drug addiction and fatherhood and being a daughter
Mm-hmm.
and passing down trauma and all of these
And like
ideas.
the trauma of like the Catholic Church.
Yeah, oh, religious trauma specifically. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There's a
And
lot of shit going on with Russell Crowe's life.
yeah, and all of that stuff by the end of the movie becomes so obvious where it's like well, the possession is just like an allegory. It's like the most like
Yeah.
obvious, like heavy-handed allegory for
I
all of
saw
this
some
stuff.
review on Letterboxd and it was like the demon is this, the demon is this, the demon is this, the demon is this. Like it's like literally like just listing off every like bit of like trauma that fucking Russell Crowe has. It's like that is the demon and that is possessing him and he has to fight these demons.
Bro, there's a scene where Russell Crowe is like possessed by a demon, like fighting his daughter, and his daughter's like, "You've been using again. You've been what? So you've been fucking blacking out, huh?" And it's like, this is crazy. This is like so like heavy-handed, and like this is like it's like it's so
It's so good.
ridiculous,
It's so
but
good.
it works so well. And I don't know, there's so like that's like obviously a huge part of it, right? Um,
Mhm.
and then okay, so there's that. But then the other part of it is like this is a movie about shooting a movie. This is a
Mhm.
movie. This is a movie about somebody getting possessed,
Yep.
about shooting a movie about somebody getting possessed, which then I leads you to this idea where I was kind of entranced while watching because
Yep.
because the scenes where they're shooting the film are
Mhm.
so interesting to me as an idea because it's like man, you could take this further and make it actually like interesting and experimental where it's like what if you just like shot a movie but like you like shot them shooting a movie but you're watching like the narrative anyway. That's a different idea, but I was like that's so interesting. But then there's so much of that where it's like you're constantly the movie's like feels like it's reminding you that you're watching a movie because like you're going on set and you're watching these actors act like
Mhm.
in their character with and
Well,
people are
I kept thinking of Free Guy, and I kept thinking of like how when we talked about on the Free Guy episode, I was like, this feels like not real. Like this feels like a fake movie set, right? But I
yeah.
really liked the whole like movie set element of this movie because it feels like more in line with like real movie. Like it was like this is like a real movie set. Like whereas like the Free Guy feels like this is not how movies are made at all. Like it feels so removed. Where this felt like I don't know. There was more of an interesting element of like I don't know. There was I really appreciated the kind of sets
Yeah,
on this film.
it felt kind of real. Obviously it's like heightened, but
Yeah, it
there
reminded me of Scream 3, which is like the Hollywood one where they like have like they remake the Scream like her house in like Hollywood and like she like is like back at her like it's like really meta like it's obviously Scream but like they like basically like are remaking her like trauma like in like Hollywood. And I thought that was like they get it. I really loved their like these have they start with this like there's like opening where I don't even remember the guy. I think it's like the original actor that Russell Crowe places. I think that's what that is at the beginning, where like he's like going and saying his lines and he's like rehearsing and he's
yeah,
like in this big like set house and they don't have like the walls. So it's like this big like open like dollhouse
yeah,
looking like
Dollhouse.
set. It's really awesome, but they like the way that the camera kind of sits in places and just kind of lets him like walk around this really big like set fake house and then he gets like fucking murdered.
Yeah, the demon kills him or whatever.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like that I really love that opening because and it's like something about horror movies and there's like such a stylistic edge to them and it's like we talked about even like on the Bike Riders, where it's like it's so formally simplistic, right? And that's like whatever. Like, but there's movies that I'm just like, do anything for me interesting. Like I was just like, but this movie, it's like I just did stuff that I was like, oh, that's interesting. Like that's actually something like that my brain like fucking registers like an idea. Like there's like so many like kind of shitty movies that come out where it's like there's not an attempt to try to do anything in terms of like form. Where I thought this movie was just always interesting to me on like that level. Like there was, I don't know, it would like make this, it would actually just make choices, and the choices were so bizarre that I was like, what the fuck? Like it's so interesting to me on that level because it's like every decision is kind of insane, and like I think that's why it's kind of fascinating to me.
Yeah, no, I agree. This movie feels like it's made by an alien, kind of,
Yeah.
in terms of how some of the ideas are communicated and come across. Where it's like, I don't know, man. I don't know, man. It's like you don't make movies like this. It's like this guy has never directed a movie before, and I think that people are so dismissive of this because for no reason. Because like, oh, like this is like an interesting project, and I can understand like this being like something that the director was really passionate about and some of the actors really believed in.
Well,
And
Kevin
like,
said this in his review, and he was like, "Come on, guys! I didn't see The Exorcist Believer, but Kevin's review was like, come on, guys! This can't have a lower rating than The
It does
Exorcist
though.
Believer." But it's like,
It currently
but
right
that's
now
like,
at this very moment has a lower
but that's the
rating
thing.
than
Like,
The
kind of
Exorcist
Doug was saying,
Believer.
like, people like this like has it's way more fascinating than like some like like carbon copy like straight up fucking Exorcist reboot.
this is not, yeah, this isn't like like a studio cash grab. I think maybe,
It's
I mean,
just like
the title is ridiculous, but but it is
yeah,
like
but
this is like
it's
somebody
very
wanted
much
to
like
make a
a
movie and like maybe, I don't know, man. It's so bizarre.
it's like a fucking like this is like my life in like a bottle. Like this is me. I'm the son of the guy who was in The Exorcist, and this is fucking. I have fucking trauma.
Yeah, it's so cool. It's and also it's like it's all, I mean, there's so much fucking stuff that's being communicated because it's also like Russell Crowe is on a medication, right, for
Mhm.
something. But like it gives him like memory loss. Like it makes it harder for him to remember things. So he stops taking his medication for the uh for the shoot, and then
And yeah,
that's
I
when he
can't
gets
remember the
possessed. So
script.
then also the demon also represents like like what's the word, um mental illness, sorry. There's so many different layers and like things that are it's really trying to do a lot, which I think is interesting because there's a line in the movie where they're like, where the director is like, no, it's not really a horror movie, it's like elevated, it's
Well,
like
it's funny. He's talking to the fucking thing. He's like, "You don't get this guy and do a horror movie. You do a really fucking like it's." I love. There's so many little moments. I love the moments where he's talking to his daughter about the script, and he's
yeah,
like, they're talking about like she's talking about. I think it's her like she says, but it's like this is how you taught me to like fucking learn how to do script. It's like
yes,
it's not about like saying it. It's like about understanding what the words mean and like I don't know. There's so many
yeah.
like I didn't know
It's
how
like,
to like
why does
say it
the
in my
character say this, yeah.
exactly not like yeah. There was I didn't really know how to like kind of put it into my review, but like I was very much like genre is like a sandbox, like horror is like an avenue to do all these things. And I think like he understands like the director understands that very well. It's like you said it's not an exorcism movie because like it's like that's not the goal to be like the fucking craziest exorcism movie. It's like the goal is like have these fucking ideas and these like fucking concepts and these themes uh kind of evocative kind of told through this kind of sandbox of the exorcist being like a concept,
Yeah.
um which I think is really interesting. I think that I'm drawn towards movies that have themes, strong themes, I guess, that are interesting to me, kind of portrayed through horror rather than like the horror itself. Like I said, it's like I think the movie's kind of scary. Like there's like some jump scare elements, and there's like it's like typical like horror stuff. But I think that's like not what I'm really interested in, rather than like the kind of what it's trying to say and like what it's doing with its kind of formalistic kind of qualities.
Yeah, it's like if, this is another thing where it's like this is an impossible movie to recommend to somebody. I think.
Yeah. Well, it's like Alex Coleman in our thing yesterday was like, "Do I see the Bikeriders or do I see the Exorcism?" And I'm like, "You're gonna like the Bikeriders way more." Like, I don't know. It's like I really like the Exorcism. I like both of the movies, but it's like it's one of them's way easier to recommend. Like we said, the Bikeriders. Like I don't know why anyone would like. Anyone can watch this. Where the Exorcism is like, it has a 1.9 on Letterboxd, and
that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
It's insane. But that's one. Those are never movies that are easy to recommend. Those are never movies that are easy to recommend.
Yeah,
but it is ridiculous, and it feels like I don't even know how to explain it because that is so low. But I never.
No, it's like it is hard to explain to somebody that's not on Letterboxd how low of a score that is.
That is so low, and it's so like the movie just came out, and it's like it's bizarre. Like it isn't like it's like a hate train or anything. It's just like everyone who saw it and they're like, yeah, this sucks.
Okay, for example, right? This movie has a lower average rating than Lift, which is the Kevin Hart movie on Netflix. That just came out this year. This movie has a lower average rating than Die Hard 2, Die Harder.
What? That's a Kevin Hart movie?
Yeah, that's a Kevin Hart movie. Die Hard.
Well,
this movie has a lower average rating than Atlas, the Jennifer Lopez, Simu Liu, Sterling K. Brown sci-fi movie. Sorry, I was just.
I don't know. Yeah.
It's 1.9 is so. It's like so. It's like this is like a universally hated movie. Basically, like to have that rating, you have to be kind of like a completely dismissed.
Yeah. What almost seemed like kind of a fake rating, because like it had that like, and I was like, this movie's not even out yet, and now it just still has it, and I was like, this doesn't even feel real. Because like it's like I never like, there's never a point in the movie where I was like, oh, this is horrible. Like I don't know, I just really liked it all the way through.
Which goes into my next kind of idea here. Oh, and do we have bad taste?
No.
There we go. We don't.
No, I don't know.
Everybody else.
I don't think people are interested in like kind of just deconstructing movies, or like I don't know. So honestly, I don't like. I was joking like in our thing, but like if people don't like this movie, like whatever. But like,
I understand why people.
I don't think people are going into movies and being like, I don't know. I don't even know what people think. I'm so removed from that.
Yeah, my understanding from the people in my life, the way that I look at it, and I don't like this movie, but just for other movies in general that people famously don't like, and like I guess it kind of applies to this movie as well for you guys, which is that like everybody I know who is not like watching movies as much as us, or even just watching multiple movies a fucking week or something, or like a month maybe, like everybody I know who is like a casual movie watcher, they watch every single movie the same way. That's the difference. And like that's what it'll like, they are watching one movie every time, and movies can only do one thing for most people. Like they only exist to serve one purpose, and it is like very specific to them, not to them, it's actually very broad, but like, you know what I mean. Like it's only ever happening one way, and anything that surrounds like what is on screen for the 2 hours that you're watching it does not matter to anybody else. Like you're like everything you guys are talking about that makes this movie good is not a thought that crosses any person's mind when they're watching a movie.
They're not thinking like, oh, this is interesting. The shots held for like a little longer.
But it's not even just about like how it's shot, because like even people I know who don't watch movies will talk to me about a movie and they'll be like, oh, that was shot really cool. And like it's not like they know what they're talking about, but like you know, they think they know what they like. They think they know what they like to see. But like it's not even that. It's like you know, when you're talking about like some like meta elements of a movie, or like what, like, you know, like why somebody might make X, Y, and Z choices, and like what this, like what it all means. Not even, this is an even more specific thing, is that like most people I know that watch movies don't even care about what a movie is saying. Like, not like why X, Y, and Z is happening, but like
Yeah.
most people I know who watch movies don't even care about the theme of the movie that they're watching. Like,
Yeah.
like that's the reality of like the average
Yeah, yeah,
person
yeah.
who watches a movie, is they go to the movies and they watch a movie and they watch things happen for 2 hours. And if they enjoyed watching those things happen for 2 hours, then they like the movie. Like
Yeah.
they don't care even about like on a textual level, like what the movie is saying.
Yeah.
So like that's what you're working with, and that's why a movie like this has a 1.9 average. Like, it's not really, I don't know, maybe it's because like it's easier in my head for me to understand what like an average person will think about a movie. But like when I watch something like this, I'm just like, yeah, I mean, this is the most obvious thing in the world. Like, it's
Yeah,
like, of
but
course
even like
they-
I think it's interesting because like even you didn't like it, but it's like you still gave it 2.5 stars. So it's like you didn't think it was like the worst
Yeah,
movie
it's not
ever
the
like
worst thing
made or
ever.
anything. Like it's
Well,
totally
that because it's like the things that you guys are saying are interesting also interest me, just like not enough for me to not
Yeah,
fall
yeah.
asleep during the
Right.
movie.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I'm like, this stuff, you know, like it's like no, but I'm like, yeah, it is like fascinating on that level. I still don't like the movie, but like
Sure.
it's
Right.
not like, I don't know, it's not the fucking, like I watched The Exorcist Believer. I'm like, it's not that. Like,
Yeah.
it's like,
No,
like
which is
that
great.
movie
Also,
sucks. Like that
I
movie
think
was terrible.
it's so interesting, and maybe this was a reshoot, but there's Chloe Bailey, who's not really an actor. She is like a musician. Who plays like a musician
She's
in this.
in movies, right?
No,
She's
she's in stuff.
really in a lot of stuff though.
She's in stuff. She's in a lot of TV, I think.
Oh, is she in a lot of TV? Okay, she's not in a lot of
Yeah.
movies. But she's in this, right? And she plays an actor, but like the character in the movie that they're making inside of the movie is the Linda Blair character from The Exorcist, who
Right.
gets possessed, the little kid, which I think is interesting because the makeup they put on her is like the exact same makeup. Like, it looks so similar to the kids in The
Well, I
Exorcist
love
Believer.
that scene when he's like she's getting possessed and Russell Crowe is like fucking up his lines and she keeps like like doing like the possession thing. Like
Yeah.
there's so many like I love the way they
Ah,
handled
cocksucker.
all like
Ah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
love the way they handled all like the movie stuff. Like the when they're shooting the scenes, even when he's doing like his like screen test for the role and like the fucking director comes up to him and like fucking like basically, okay, so what's your deal, buddy? Like he like that whole like that's such a great fucking scene. Like there's home like all the stuff on the set is like fantastic.
Yeah. No, it's other than like, obviously like the director is evil, right?
Yeah, it's awesome.
I'm sure that there are other evil directors, but maybe not like in the exact way that this movie is. But it's like the stuff where it's like him fucking up his lines and what the actors have control over on set. It's like that feels like it feels realistic enough,
Yeah,
where it's
no,
like
it feels like it. I don't know. There's some like dark element to it that's like really fun.
Yeah.
and Sam Worthington's also in this movie.
Yeah, I was just about
That's
to.
true.
It's so bizarre that he's in this movie, but I love it. I was like, this is such an interesting movie for him to like take, because he's in it like not at all. Like he plays this character where he's just an actor on the movie, and he just gets fucking murdered.
Yeah.
You know what else Sam Worthington was in?
A lot of
Avatar?
garbage.
Lift, starring Kevin Hart, the movie you just referenced
Let's
that has a higher
Wow.
average rating.
I think I could get Sam Worthington in my movie.
I would love to get Sam Worthington in my movie.
How much money did he make for the Avatar movies? Like, does he just like not have to act?
Yeah, I think he's pretty well off because
He
of
just
those
loves the
movies.
game, and by the game he means bad movies.
Yeah, bad movies, right? Like he just does but like he's just gonna keep coming back for Avatar, and then like just
mean,
make
no.
bad movies when he's not doing
Like
Avatar.
it's like supplemental, like all the other movies are like supplemental income.
It's just reps, man. It's just reps.
Yeah, it's just keeping your. It's like
just like
It's
such
just
a,
keeping his fucking
iron
arms
sharpens
moving.
it's like
iron,
kind
brother.
of the
Yeah.
craziest filmography like you'll ever look at. Like it's
You
like
don't fuck with Man on Ledge.
I don't even know what that is.
Man on a Ledge.
It's
Well,
a
no, I got
man
that
on
part.
a ledge.
I mean, that
It's a
part I-
it's a thriller about a man who's
Yeah,
standing
wait
on the
until I
ledge
tell
of
you.
a
Wait until I
building.
tell you what Everest is about.
Oh shit. Yeah, he's just like, these movies are crazy, bro.
Yeah, no, like it's just
But I think he's
it's
fun
really
in this. I honestly
perplexing.
wish he was in it more. But like,
I wish he was in it more
I
too.
loved his death scene because it's like I love the way that kind of shot was composed because you have him in the
Oh,
reflection.
that was one of the parts I liked actually.
It's he's looking at his reflection. He's like, working on his lines because he's replacing Russell Crowe's character like as an actor because Russell Crowe keeps fucking up. So I don't know what like the plan was.
I don't know what
in
the plan
terms
was
of, like,
either.
The movie. He was like,
Yeah.
I don't know if like they were just gonna like cut his role and like they were gonna switch spots but apparently like Russell Crowe out, Sam Worthington in, and then he fucking like comes through the glass and like fucking his eye gets like it's awesome.
Yeah, that part was cool.
It's like a full on like slasher moment.
I like how in the universe of the film, Russell Crowe, Sam Worthington, and Chloe Bailey's characters are the only famous people, and they also like are the three most famous people in the movie. You know what I mean?
Sort of. Yeah, it's funny. I really like the party scene where like they're like celebrating the movie being like Russell Crowe being in the movie. I don't really know what they're celebrating.
It's a production party. It's like oh, we're making the movie party. It's like
It's confusing because
it's at his apartment.
It's confusing. One, because it's at his apartment. Two, because they were already like doing the movie or starting the movie, but the actor, like that's like the big scene at the beginning, like where the actor that was doing Russell Crowe or being Russell Crowe's character like dies. So like I don't know how much they like. It's never really clearly stated. It doesn't really matter, but it's never really clearly stated how far into production they were in. I really like that. I'm thinking about it. There's these like title cards, and it's like shot 3 of the shoot. Boom. It's like awesome.
Yeah.
It's like it jumps around. It's like day 11 of shooting the movie. That's like a crazy like sound.
Don't even get me started about how fucking loud everything was, dude. Jesus Christ. Every time there was like one moment where I was like ready to knock out, and then he like walks down the staircase and he like puts his hand on the railing, but like every time his hand touches the railing, it's like like someone setting off a fucking alarm, dude. I'm like, Jesus Christ, bro. Like, how loud are your hands, man?
How loud are your hands?
Dude, like my theater was like shaking. I was like, I'm not even watching this in Dolby, dude. Like, this is like a shitty ass theater. And like, it's like, dude, it's loud as fuck. Like, everything was vibrating. I was like, what is going on?
No, this movie would have been good in Dolby.
Certainly would have kept me awake more. That's for sure.
This in the IMAX.
Would have been hard.
Yeah, should have put this in the IMAX.
Speaking of IMAX, Miramax logo plays.
I was just about to bring that up.
Yes,
I was trying to find a way to come in and segue for you guys because I knew you wanted to talk about that.
Yeah, thank you, because I didn't want to talk about that and I forgot. What the fuck is up with Miramax, bro? Harvey Weinstein is in jail. Why do we still see the Miramax logo before? Did you know why Miramax is called Miramax? It's a combination of Harvey Weinstein's two fucking parents' names.
Mira
it's
and
like
Max.
Yeah, it is literally
like
Harvey Weinstein. Miramax is the Harvey Weinstein company.
You just paid something out where it's like, why do they keep showing these before the trailers? But it's like they fucking show.
Oh yeah, and Owen replied, and he was like, "Just wait."
The fucking movie.
It starts, and it's like...
Oh, it's so crazy because like, what the fuck? Because like, how long has this movie been in production, bro?
Yeah, like every time I see a new trailer or a new movie that's like starts with Miramax, which is kind of often, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, bro is literally in jail. I don't understand the details with all that. They should I mean, maybe they should just like rename the company if it's gonna still be running. Like
a little rebrand action.
Yeah, it's like his fucking parents' names.
Maybe just cut the Mira, just Max. You know, it's a good name. I think. I don't think that one's taken.
Yeah, like be like Justin Timberlake and
Social Network. Drop the Mira.
Is there anything else you guys want to say about the movie? We do have some news, but
I'm trying to figure out what's going on.
We're only halfway through talking about it, right? You have like,
oh, okay. I'll mute again. I'm sorry. I didn't realize there's a lot more going on.
No, it still like exists. Like it
yeah, someone. I mean,
it got bought or something like in 2019.
Then they should just rename it, bro.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
like it's his fucking parents' names. It's Harvey Weinstein's the company is the name. It's basically as if the company was called the Weinstein Brothers. That's the equivalent of like seeing that before to me. It's like what the
Yeah.
fuck. Um,
It's got what the fuck is this? Weird. Yeah, weird stuff going on around Miramax.
you don't say. No, I like The Exorcism a lot. I think that it's not a movie I can recommend to anybody because it's very weird. And I think that even if what we said was interesting to you, there's a good chance you're gonna go see it and be like, "This, what the fuck," you know?
Yeah, but
Um,
honestly, I've seen like people with like my review. Like, there's people that like it. It's just like the vast majority of people don't like it. But there
Yeah.
are truthers. There are
I
people who
want
like
after
this movie.
after the movie ended, I was just trying to read positive letterboxd reviews because I was like, I'm curious, like I want to see what they have to say. And I scrolled for like 14 pages before I got to the first one that was even like a 3-star review, and I was just like, man, this is tough.
it's
I was
so
like, I don't know.
weird.
Yeah, but no, there are people. I
Like
mean,
I'm
people do like
interested
it.
because I'm interested as time passes to read positive reviews because even watching it, like I was like, this is a movie that in the future people are gonna be kind to.
It's a really
Like
interesting relic.
I felt while watching it that 10 years from now, people are gonna talk about it and be like, man, you guys got this one wrong. And at the same time,
You
I'm
didn't
totally
like
comfortable getting it wrong. No,
it.
like that's my thing is like
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
never like I will just like other people want to like say that they were the first ones on board, which like I'm seeing recently with like Nope, right, where like I saw Nope in theaters and I was like, this is the best movie ever,
Yeah,
and
it
now
rocks.
everybody's starting to rewatch Nope and be like, this movie rocks, and I'm like, yeah, I fucking told you so. But like for
Mhm.
me, I have like no, like I don't need those things to happen. Like I'll just shit on a movie, and if 10 years from now people love it, then I'll just be like, okay, maybe it's actually good. Like I don't need to be the first one on board. Like I'll just say that shit sucked, and if I'm wrong, then whatever. I'd rather like I'm not gonna,
Well, there's
you
some
know.
level of like interesting kind of because there's the lack of people who've seen this movie where it's like it feels like I'm like one of the only people who have seen the movie. So it's like I'm saying it's like even that 1.9 average, like it doesn't even feel real because of the amount of people who have seen it.
Yeah.
So it feels like I didn't really go into it being like, oh, this is gonna be like a fucking half-star movie. So I was like, oh, let's see what this movie has to offer. I was like, oh, it's good. There you go.
It is good
It feels removed from kind of the culture conversation because it's so small.
because
Like
nobody's
so
going to see it. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
nobody's
like,
gonna watch the movie.
bro,
Yeah.
Tyler C. Whitmore, he posted on his story, he was like, "What are we watching this weekend, guys?" And his two options on his poll were The Bikeriders and Kind of Kindness. And it's like, okay, way to not be self-aware, buddy.
Kind of Kindness is like not even playing near me.
Yeah, it's not even
That's why we're
fucking
not doing
playing
it this
near.
week. That's
It's
why
not
we're
even
not doing it this
playing
week.
near us.
I mean,
The real American option is The Bikeriders or The Exorcism. That's the real choices this weekend for over 300 million Americans.
I think Sound of Freedom is still in theaters. Actually, if you're worried about real Americans, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure they're doing a re-release. Okay, let's talk about news.
Talking about a movie we'll be talking about in 10 years, right?
Yeah, right. That's right. Yeah. Shout out Sound of Freedom.
Yeah.
All right. You guys know the deal. Like, comment, subscribe, rate the episode, Spotify and Apple Podcasts, follow us on Twitter, all that good stuff. We've got a bit of news. Another piece of studio news that's not Miramax. Lionsgate has declined to pay for the marketing costs of Megalopolis, and as a result, Francis Ford Coppola is expected to provide $15 to $20 million in marketing himself.
I mean,
That's
if he's
so
cool with it,
silly.
if he's cool with it,
So
like,
silly,
it
bro.
ain't my money. I don't know. If he's cool with it, I don't. It's bizarre. I mean, we were always like, okay, when is this getting distribution? When is it? And then we finally got Lionsgate, and we didn't really get the information on the deal. But I mean, you kind of assume that they would market the movie, but it makes sense why they wouldn't or wouldn't want to. And it's just like, okay, this is just the best deal he could have got. Is like it's gonna play in theaters. He has to,
Which
put
is a really
more money
terrible
into it.
deal.
It's a fucked up deal. It's a really fucked up deal.
Yeah.
Like it's like, but
Listen,
I'm like,
we're all gonna go see it no matter what. It's like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
But it would be nice if other people saw it. But also, If it has the Exorcism
Hey, who gives a
1.9
fuck,
stamp of approval on Letterboxd, you know.
1.9, bro, a Megalopolis 1.9 would be like average rating on Letterboxd.
I'm just saying, what if people actually go out to watch it and then the average rating is like a 2.2?
This is also why marketing is kind of important. He needs to get out a trailer playing before movies, being like, from the director of The Godfather, Apocalypse Now, The Godfather Part 2, The Conversation.
The
Like,
average person doesn't even know that he's
Starring
alive still.
Lawrence Fishburne.
Like if you, I bet you if you ask, I bet you if you ask like regular people, like if I ask like people I know, if the director of The Godfather is still alive, they'd be like, "There's no way."
They're like,
I think
what, George Lucas?
I think people don't give a fuck about the director of The Godfather. It's what I'm also discovering, which is so fucking
Who do they
weird
give a
to
fuck
me.
about?
Taika Waititi. Like, I don't know.
No,
like,
I don't know. I know more.
He's
I know more
riffing on a
people. I
level
know
that's
more people in my
absolutely
day-to-day
sublime,
life
bro.
that would know Francis Ford Coppola than Taika Waititi.
but I don't think they care though. I don't think they care about.
Well, they don't care about any
People don't give a
directors.
fuck.
People don't care about any directors.
People care
but
about Wes Anderson.
At least they know
Wes
they
Anderson?
don't.
Yes, they do.
People do not care about Wes Anderson.
They absolutely do.
We've had this conversation before. People do not. The average person. I literally just told you that people don't even understand what movies are about, and you think they're showing up to theaters being like, "Yay, Wes Anderson!"
Yeah, it's pretty
Let's
pictures.
go!
They love symmetry and balanced images.
They
Yeah,
love
that's
when the
exactly
image
what
just a
people
little.
love.
Yeah,
That's exactly what people
they
love.
love it
dude.
when the
people
colors
on
are
the
to
street.
sell.
Yeah, you ask people on the street what they like in movies, and that's what they'll tell you. They love when they're symmetric.
They
But
love
people don't
Wes
care about
Anderson.
directors, dude. It has nothing to do with Francis Ford
Yes,
Coppola. People
Anderson.
don't care about them. They care
People
about
don't
Christopher
shit.
Nolan.
You don't like.
They care about Christopher Nolan. They care about Greta
Someone asked me
Gerwig.
in my comments,
And
why do people care about
More
actors?
people care about Wes Anderson than Greta Gerwig. What are we talking about?
don't.
Yes, they do.
Bitches
No,
love
they
Barbie.
don't.
Barbie made like
Oh.
$1 billion, Doug.
Oh, people do not care
It's
about
not
Wes
because
Anderson.
of Greta Gerwig.
Just because
Barbie made $1
Wes
billion.
Anderson has a TikTok trend does not mean people care about him. They don't.
Oh my god, this is like revisionist history, bro. This is crazy.
Not. Dude, people don't. Dude, there is not a single person in my day-to-day life who I could ask about Wes Anderson and they would speak and be like, "Yeah, I love that guy." Like nobody would say that.
Are you serious?
Yes, I'm people. Dude, we've had this conversation.
We got to get you out of New Jersey, brother.
No,
we literally
just had a conversation about how
think
you
in
two are
ninth
not
grade
in
there was
touch
this
with
like
the
foreign
average
exchange student that was in my English class that liked Wes Anderson.
Listen, they care about Christopher Nolan, like I said. They care about Greta Gerwig.
He was cool.
They kind of care about Steven Spielberg, and that's it.
Fuck Spielberg and his stupid ass.
Nobody cares about Steven Spielberg
Yes,
anymore.
they do because they know who he is.
They didn't
The
pull up to the
Fablemans made
BFG.
no money. Nobody
Yeah,
showed
because
up
they
to the
don't.
Fablemans.
There's that's different though. If you
How is
put
it
Steven
different?
Spielberg's name on like but they don't care about fucking dramas. They don't care about family dramas, dude. Who the fuck wants to watch that, bro?
Families.
Yeah, no shit, but like
Dramatic ass families, bro. I don't know.
People don't
what
care
do they
about
care
that.
about?
If you put Steven Spielberg's name in front of like a trailer for some big
like, his new
blockbuster, I
UFO
guarantee
movie?
you, like the average people. I mean, people care. Like my
Did they
friends who
show up for
don't watch
Tintin? How
movies
much
cared
money did
about the
Tintin
Bike
make?
Riders because they were like, "Oh, that looks interesting." Like my
Tintin,
friends, everybody I
Octo.
know cares about long.
374 million. Why?
Like people have seen the marketing for long legs and they're like, and they like people talk about that shit. Like regular ass people.
Cinema Joe gave 5 stars.
No, it's because
Cinnamon Joe did give it 5 stars though.
The average person wants to go to the movies to see something that will scare them. Like they eat that shit up, dude.
If that's you, do not go see The Exorcism.
No,
if that is you. Scary. There's one jump scare in the movie.
It's kind of scary, man.
No, there was a moment where I was a little
Russell Crowe pisses on the floor. That shit rocks.
Shit rocks. You see his ass. His whole ass is out.
Anyway, next piece of news then. CEO Bill Kramer says that the Academy is exploring the idea of gender-neutral acting categories. The quote is that it is in early exploration stage and one of many conversations about the future of awards and the Oscars. I think we're all kind of in agreement that this would be a good thing. I've kind of petitioned for this to happen for like years now. I just
it's an essential step. I think that it's an essential step. And I think like the response, here's how I hope the Academy does it, right? I hope that they actually do like they get rid of actor and actress, right? Those don't
Yeah.
exist anymore, and instead it is just a best
Lead
performer, lead
and
performance, and then
supporting
best
performance.
supporting performance. Yes, I think that is
Would
ideally.
do you think that ideally the situation would be that they combine the number of nominations and there's like 10 lead performance nominees at the
Yeah.
Oscars?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that would be cool.
But only one winner though. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that is.
Hey,
They give a runner up Oscar.
shorter
They
show.
start giving the runner up Oscar. It's just like they announce the winner and then they're like, and in second place.
Like I think they have to go.
No,
I think that they should do it. I think they should go all the way and like totally
Yeah, balls
take
to
out
the
all
wall.
the
Yeah.
gender,
No, same.
all of it. Yeah.
All of
I mean,
it.
it's
No
needed
more
to,
gender.
it's needed to happen for a while.
Yeah.
And
Well,
it
because
would
like, you
make,
think about it,
it
it's
would
like
also
there's
make a lot of these awards way more interesting, and
And
like
Yeah.
faster.
and the way that we talk about awards races more interesting, because there's like that
Less
whole
to talk
kind of
about.
like, no, not less to talk
it would be
about.
more to talk about.
There'd
Less
actually
awards,
be
less to talk about.
there'd
Now,
actually
let's
be
go.
races. First of all, I mean, like so much of like award season for us is like knowing who is gonna win way ahead of time, and then seeing that winner and being like, yeah, well, we knew that already. But like if you combine the categories, then there's gonna be enough competition to where it's actually gonna be unpredictable, and you're actually gonna have to like wait
Yeah.
and see.
Yeah.
Imagine if the
Which
race
is
was
interesting.
between. Imagine if the race was between Kate
Brendan
Blanchett,
Fraser.
Michelle Yeoh, Brendan Fraser, and Austin Butler. Like it was a 4-person race like that.
Or
you know?
even this past year,
With
between
Brendan
Lily
Fraser.
Gladstone, Emma Stone, who was nominated for Best Actor? Like I don't remember the guys.
Robert.
Cillian Murphy.
Oh, right, Killian.
Oh,
okay,
fuck.
that's true. That's
Oh,
true.
fuck.
That's why I forgot it, because it's just
Yeah,
like
bro, forgot about him.
Is that real? Do I remember at the Oscars that Emma Stone won?
Yes, that is real. Yeah, I mean, I guess
That's
that goes against
crazy.
my point, which is like we expected Lily
Emma
Gladstone to win and Emma
Stone.
Stone won,
Yeah.
but
Emma
it would
Stone
be
would
even
take
closer.
it
It would be
back.
even
Hey.
closer if it was between Emma Stone and Cillian Murphy. I mean, who knows who they would vote for?
Maybe their vote would split and Lily Gladstone would have won. You know, you never.
Maybe
Yeah,
they-
like
yeah.
That's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying. Like that makes it
LG.
interesting, and it's like awards are boring for most people. At least
Yeah,
it would be
boring
interesting.
and
if
fucking
people
lame.
don't- Yeah. Okay. Well, you don't. Can you be quiet for a second?
Fuck that shit.
Anyway, next piece of news: Andrew Scott, Margaret Qualley, and Ethan Hawke to star in Richard Linklater's next film, Blue Moon. Linklater, who we famously talked about a week ago.
Let's go.
yeah, we yapped
looks like a movie episode.
a lot about this guy.
What's that movie called? Richard Linklater liked that movie. He must have.
What movie?
What?
The mo-
What the
the
fuck are you talking about?
Fuck, dude, the movie that
With,
you like.
with Andrew Scott or with Margaret Qualley?
A movie about
What,
the all of
neither
the
of them?
strangers. All of the
Oh.
strangers.
That is a movie with Andrew Scott. I don't know why you said no.
Bro
That's
said,
like, literally-
Bro,
yeah.
what? Mm-mm.
No, I'm.
I said, is it
Paul
the
Mescal
movie?
and Andrew Scott are in that movie, and he casted both of them.
I'm aware, but I'm saying I asked if it was the movie with Andrew Scott, and you said, mm-mm.
Yeah, because that's not important.
That is literally the
It's the
only
collective.
important
It's
detail.
the two people. in the
Bro
movie.
said,
Okay.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm sure he liked it.
There's
I mean,
this is like a biopic.
Bro, Andrew
Blue
Scott's
Moon?
forehead is big as fuck, bro. Holy
hold up.
shit.
Let me.
Yeah.
I don't really know much about.
Bro
it.
is mega mind.
I love him.
I don't know if it's that big.
It's pretty big.
It's
Bro
like
is
it's got some girth to
Megamind.
it
Okay.
for sure.
When
When he has his hair slicked back, he looks like mega
Yeah.
mind. Yeah.
It's about the opening night of his hit musical Oklahoma.
Oh, that's jolly.
It's a biopic about
Interesting.
the guy.
Oklahoma.
Lorenz
Yeah,
Hart.
yeah.
That's close to Doug's stomping ground.
Which makes sense with
Close to Oklahoma.
Oh,
Nebraska.
Bobby. You like this guy, Bobby?
Bobby Cannavale, yeah,
Yeah,
my
he's in the
guy,
movie. He's in the movie.
my guy, Bobby.
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
great. He's an all-time guy who shows up in things. Personally,
Ethan Hawke, Margaret Qualley, Bobby,
Right.
and Andrew Scott. Good,
Yeah.
good cast.
Andrew
I like
Scott
it.
is such a good actor that is in like no good things.
That's the big thing. That's the big thing.
We
It's like,
literally
yeah,
just talked about All of Us Strangers like 2
yeah,
seconds
bad.
ago.
Okay,
movie.
sure.
So he was
And he's in Fleabag.
Andrew Scott is incredible, one of our best
That's a
actors.
TV show.
He is a kind of a theater guy,
I forgot TV's not real.
which kind of makes sense for him being in this. But yeah,
Andrew
not in a
Scott
lot
is
of great pictures.
he's a soldier in a movie, isn't he?
Yeah, 1917
And
bad
yeah,
movie.
yeah.
Oh, is it 1917? Why did I think it was Saving Private Ryan? Oh no, it's Saving Private
He's in
Ryan
both.
too.
He's
Yeah,
in both.
Yeah, that's right.
He's
Yeah, one of
in
those.
Alice to the
I don't
Looking
actually even
Glass,
really
bad
like
movie.
Saving Private. Oh, he's good in Pride. I love him in Pride,
I haven't
which
seen
nobody
that.
has watched.
Yeah.
Doug would hate that movie.
Would I actually?
Yeah, you would watch Pride and you'd be like, that shit's so annoying.
Oh man.
You would get paid. Like Pride would be your new Love Simon. Like it would be. No, he's a good actor.
No, he's fantastic.
No, he's like not like one of our great actors. Actually, he just like is not in very many good things.
He's also
like,
he's also in the Delinquent season opposite Killian
I
Murphy.
think he's getting his moment though. Like I think like for a while it was like, damn, like no one gives a fuck about Andrew Scott. Like he's incredible. And it seems like he's like entered into kind of the mainstream territory a little bit where he's getting like bigger roles. I think like his next decade is going to be his biggest, but I just like how big is it going to be? We'll see.
Yeah. I heard that Ripley show was awesome too.
Yeah, it feels like the time for Andrew Scott.
Yeah, he's doing good. He's doing good. He's going to be.
Which it feels like it's like damn, it took a while for this to happen, but
yeah, I remember
it's kind of finally here.
I used to watch his there's a recorded version of his Hamlet that I would watch all the time, and I was like, man, this guy's fucking crazy.
Yeah,
this guy's so good.
Actor. Yeah. Shout out to Andrew Scott. Good for him. God. Sometimes I like write down our news and then I like look at it as I'm about to read it and I'm just like, Jesus Christ.
You wrote it.
No, I didn't. I don't make up news.
He's like, whoa. He's like, whoa.
Decided that this
Kevin just had a moment of like, whoa. I didn't wait.
History,
man. I didn't create the news. Like, I'm just a messenger.
Just a messenger.
Like, I'm doing my job, bro. This is what I get paid for. Netflix will open up their first in-person experience venues in 2025. They will feature stores, restaurants, and activities related to Netflix shows such as Bridgerton, Stranger Things, and Squid Game. This is like the bleakest piece of news we've ever had on the podcast.
I understand.
I didn't see this until I was doing the news this morning for the episode, and I was like, oh my God. Like, what a disaster.
Yeah, what a disaster. What the fuck is this?
They're just opening up Netflix malls, like Netflix themed malls. And it's like, is there a bigger slap in the face in history than like single-handedly being the company that ruined movie theaters and then like 10 years down the line being like, hey, we're going to open up in-person venues that have everything except for a movie theater in them? Like, what? This is so evil.
I don't even know what to say because I don't even understand. Like, it's like, what do you mean by like
it's like a
game experience?
Yeah, I think it's going to be along the lines. I think it's going to be along the lines of like, it's like a Disneyland light. You know, like something like something more casual than a Disneyland, probably, but like has similar like attractions.
Where did I see they were doing some
probably
sort of
like actors working there or something.
I don't know if I imagined this, but there was some sort of theme park that they were, and I don't know what I'm talking about now. It was some sort of like franchise theme park that they were making.
Netflix was making?
No, I just don't know what I'm talking about now. Franchise.
I feel like this is like a podcast kind of thing. I feel like maybe this is like something for later, you know?
New.
Like, we don't need to just like pick your brain for things that you've been thinking about. That's not really
what is it. Wait, is this?
What's been on your mind, Doug?
I've been listening to a lot of the Girls So Confusing version.
Yeah, I noticed that you listened to it 87 times in the first 24 hours of its release.
Oh, it was the fucking Dark Universe.
That's correct.
The Dark Universe theme park.
What is that? You mean like the show Dark?
No.
It's like Frankenstein and like Dracula and shit.
Oh,
at like
that's like
I think it's at Universal.
So it's just like it's like Six Flags Fright Fest, but just all year round.
No, it's like Universal with like the fucking with like Harry Potter and shit, but it's gonna be like Dracula and like
so like scary stuff. That's what I just said.
That's what I saw.
I literally this is the second time in the last 10 minutes that I described something exactly as it is, and you said no to me, and then repeated the thing that I just described.
Oh, it's gonna open in 2025. They're gonna have like Mario and like the
Am I
Dark
fucking
universe.
crazy?
It's got Mario.
I just explained an exact thing to him, and he goes no, and then said the same thing back to me.
Oh, Kevin, what's the next piece of news?
Next piece of news. Gladiator 2 was screened at Cine Europe,
yeah.
and Paramount's Mark Vian says that the film includes, quote, some of the biggest action sequences ever put on film.
Bro, this shit's gonna be so crazy. This shit's gonna be so crazy. I need a trailer so bad. Bro,
Trailer is gonna hit. Like, speaking of trailers, the Nosferatu trailer, it's not in the news, but we could also talk about that since we've all seen it.
yeah. Well,
we don't usually talk about trailers. No, that's like
no, those, but like
Lily Rose Depp, give her that general neutral Oscar, bro. Oh my
god. Yeah, give her that non-binary Oscar, brother.
Oh my god.
No, Gladiator 2, bro. I need the baboons. I need
a
monkey chase.
You know, like when
baboons and the sharks.
There's not right now. Twisters is the only trailer doing this for me, but like it kind of happens like all the time where like there's just like a movie trailer where like every time you go to the movies, you get excited to watch it and you never get tired of watching it until the movie comes out. Man, that Gladiator 2 trailer.
They moved it up too, right?
Yeah, they moved it up a week, so like not significantly, but
Hey,
but that Gladiator 2 trailer, I'm gonna watch that shit 500 times.
I mean, a week could be the difference between life and death.
It's a difference between life or death. People die in a week.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well,
everybody dies in a week.
It doesn't happen over the course of a week.
Jimmy
That's
in
like
Orlando.
a real hard way to.
You got 1 week left. What? Shout out. Hope you're doing good.
I'm gonna skip over the Steven Spielberg news because you guys said something negative about him earlier.
I like Steven Spielberg's films. He is
and are you fuck, Doug? Are you excited for Steven Spielberg's upcoming UFO blockbuster, which is set to have 2 leads, one of which is circling Emily Blunt?
Yeah,
boring.
Yeah.
Boring.
That'll be good.
Jungle Cruise sequel, why don't you?
That'll be really good. I am excited to do a podcast about that episode without Owen.
Yeah,
Owen has to go do something else that week.
Yeah. That week.
No, I'm excited as well. I think Steven Spielberg UFO movie is gonna be good.
Why would he do that?
Jennifer Lawrence to produce and star in murder mystery The Wives for A24 with Jeremy O'Harris and Josh Godfrey also producing. Plot details are currently under wraps, but the film is inspired by the Real Housewives.
What?
I'm just the newsman, okay?
That was crazy. That pause was crazy. I don't know. Sure, fuck it. Who gives a fuck?
Sure.
I guess.
I love A24.
Yeah, A24 is my favorite director.
The next one is so funny because literally all it says is Uncharted 2 with Tom Holland is happening.
Well, let's go.
Did that movie do well? I remember like nobody liked it.
I think, yeah, but I think it made
money.
Did it make money though?
Video game movies
made 400 million.
Usually. Did it?
On a 120 million. It's the 5th highest grossing video game of all time movie.
Tom Holland saga of making bad movies continues. And will he ever escape? Probably not.
Nope. Will Tom Holland ever make a really great movie?
He's so cooked. I mean, he's only like what? How old is he? 28?
No, he's gonna be in his 40s, and he's gonna be like, "Oh, I've never actually made any success," and then he's gonna make a movie with Robert Eggers. That's what's gonna happen, or something, or like Jordan Peele or something.
Yo, he would be the perfect little squire in a Robert Eggers movie, like a little guy.
Squire. I'm sure that's what Tom Holland wants to do.
Yeah, give it 15 years. His house is going to be in some fucking art house film.
15
for awards. He's going to be in a Bong Joon-ho film.
We don't really have more news, but in
15
the
years?
last piece of news I included was
Yeah,
just
make
like
me do it.
specifically Kevin news, a little piece of Kevin TV news. Ruby Cruz joining the cast of The Sex Lives of College Girls, seemingly replacing Renee Rapp's character. They really know what they're doing, by the way. They like the Sex Lives of College Girls casting department. They really know what they're fucking doing, because they announced that Ruby Cruz was being cast in like the Renee Rapp replacement, and people lost their fucking minds. Like the Sex Lives of College Girls fans are very happy with that casting. As am I. I think that's a perfect replacement, even though Renee Rapp's character can't really be replaced, but Ruby Cruz makes a lot of sense. I think they nailed that
From
one.
the
Good
Willow
show,
show. From the Willow TV show.
the what?
The Willow TV show.
Like
Ruby Cruz.
the person? The what?
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for coming and watching the latest episode of Looks Like a Movie podcast. Like, comment, subscribe. If you're on Spotify, rate us 5 stars. Please, it would help so much. Not as a joke, it would help so much if you did tell people about it. If you did maybe want to share the episode on social media, it would be helpful. If
It'd
not,
also be helpful if Owen could not do that with his camera. I don't really
what
know
are we
what's
talking about
going
next
on
week?
there. Next week is episode 73. We are going to be talking about 2 movies again: Kinds of Kindness and Horizon, an American Saga, Chapter 1. So we'll see you later.